I used to believe I understood my wife better than anyone. Emily had always been the kind of woman who made every room feel warmer the moment she stepped in. Bright, quick-witted, and just reckless enough to be exciting. But over the last year, that warmth had shifted into something else, a kind of distance I kept trying to justify. Stress from work, family pressure, not enough rest. The usual excuses husbands tell themselves when they don't want to confront the truth forming in the back of their minds. The night of the corporate party, I was the one who suggested she go. "You need a break," I told her. "Go have fun. I'll stay home and finish up some work." She hesitated at first. Emily always claimed these events drained her, but when she finally agreed, her excitement felt sharper than usual, almost urgent. I brushed it off. You don't assume the worst about someone you've built a life with. By 9 p.m. she had texted me a small update. "Made it here. Lots of people. I'll be home late." Nothing odd at all. I didn't reply immediately. I was finishing a report. When I finally picked up my phone again, her message sat there like a harmless pebble on a quiet road. Except quiet roads sometimes hide what's coming. Around 10:30, one of her coworkers, Justin, called me. We weren't close, but we'd talked enough times at company dinners that he had my number. His voice carried a tension I'd never heard from him. "Hey man, I just thought you should know Emily left the party. She didn't leave alone." I asked him what he meant. His answer felt like ice pressed against my spine. "She walked out with 2 guys. I don't know their names. They weren't from the office. She left pretty fast." For a moment I couldn't breathe. Justin tried to explain more, but my mind had already snapped into a blur. 2 guys. Why would she leave with strangers? Why would she leave without calling me? I told myself there had to be a mistake, that he'd misread something, but a cold dread settled in my stomach and wouldn't move. I tried calling her. No answer. I tried again, straight to voicemail. I kept trying until my call log became a string of unanswered attempts. I told myself not to panic. Maybe her phone battery died. Maybe she stepped outside for fresh air. Maybe. But the hollow space inside me was already tightening. By midnight, I was pacing the living room. At 12:17 a.m., her name finally flashed on my screen, and I nearly dropped the phone from shock. I answered so quickly I didn't even register the tremor in my own voice. But Emily didn't speak. Instead, a soft, shaky breath filled the line, uneven, frightened. Then her voice, distant and barely above a whisper. "Ryan, if you hear this, something isn't right." I froze. Every muscle in my body went rigid. She paused, as if trying to gather herself. "I didn't mean for any of this. I don't know how it got this far." My pulse hammered against my ribs. "Emily, where are you?" I blurted, but she couldn't hear me. It wasn't a live call. It was a voicemail that had started playing automatically because I'd missed her last attempt. The realization hit me too late. "If they ask about me, don't trust." Her voice cut off abruptly. Then another voice, a man's voice, muffled but unmistakably sharp, entered the background. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone carried a command, something stern and cold. Emily's breath hitched. "I have to go. Please just remember I tried." Then silence. The message ended, leaving a ringing emptiness in my ears. I replayed it 3 times, hoping to catch something I'd missed, a clue, a location, anything. But each time it ended the same way. Her fear, the interruption, the sudden drop into nothingness. I called her again. Still no answer. Panic bled into confusion, and confusion hardened into dread. I sat on the couch, staring at the dark screen of my phone, feeling the weight of something unraveling in real time. What had she gotten herself into? Why 2 men? Why the fear in her voice? And what did she mean when she said she didn't mean for any of this? By 1 a.m. I grabbed my keys and left the house. I drove to the hotel in downtown Seattle where the party had been held, hoping someone had seen something. When I arrived, the place was already half empty. Staff were cleaning up, and a few stragglers lingered near the bar. I asked around. Some remembered Emily laughing near the terrace with 2 men who didn't look familiar. One person said she seemed a little too comfortable with them. Another said she looked nervous. The conflicting reports only made things worse. By 2 a.m. I was back in my car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. Her voicemail repeated in my head again and again, each replay sharpening the questions I didn't want to ask. What if this wasn't infidelity? What if this was danger? And what if the two weren't separate? I didn't know it yet, but the answers were about to pull my life into a darkness I never imagined. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard Emily's whisper. Strained, trembling, threaded with something I had never heard from her before. Not guilt, not shame, fear. Real visceral fear. By morning, I was running on caffeine and adrenaline. I drove home, showered, and sat at the dining table staring at my phone like it was a lifeline. No updates, no messages. Nothing but the voicemail that was eating away at my sanity. At 8:12 a.m., I finally received a call from an unknown number. My stomach tightened as I answered. A woman introduced herself as Detective Larson from the Seattle Police Department. My heart lurched. She explained that the hotel had reported a suspicious complaint from a guest. Something about a woman matching Emily's description being escorted out by two men who seemed aggressive. The hotel had flagged the behavior in their log, and since Emily's car was still in the parking lot, the police had been alerted. I drove to the station immediately. Detective Larson met me in a small interview room, her expression firm and focused. She asked me to recount everything from the party invitation to the voicemail. As I repeated Emily's words, the detective's calm demeanor faltered for a moment. She asked if she could listen to the message herself. When it finished, she tapped her pen on the table, deep in thought. "This doesn't sound like a voluntary situation," she said quietly. The weight of those words crushed whatever hope I had left. She asked if Emily had a history with anyone who might cause trouble. The question stung. I wanted to say no. I wanted to defend her. But the truth was more complicated. Emily had changed over the last year. Secretive texts, unexplained late nights, sudden defensiveness when I asked simple questions. I'd convinced myself it was stress, that she was overwhelmed. But the part of me I kept silencing knew better. Still, I told the detective I wasn't aware of any direct threats. She nodded, but I could tell she wasn't convinced. Then she asked if Emily had ever been unfaithful before. I hesitated. That pause alone seemed to answer her question. The detective leaned forward. "Ryan, listen to your wife's voice. This isn't someone running away with lovers. This is someone who's trapped in something she can't explain." Her words hit like a punch. I left the station feeling like I was walking through fog. Everything I thought I knew about last night kept shifting. Betrayal, fear, secrets, missing person, they were all swirling together, and none of it made sense. I drove back to the hotel, hoping to retrace her steps. The parking lot was nearly empty now. Her silver sedan sat where it had been left the night before, untouched. Seeing it there made the whole situation feel wrong. If she had willingly left with two men, why leave her car? Why call me? Why sound terrified? I stood beside the car, staring at the faint fingerprint smudges on the window. A maintenance worker approached me, asking if I was looking for the woman from last night. I said yes, and he shook his head slowly. "She didn't seem like she wanted to go," he said. One of the men had her by the arm. Not rough, just firm. My throat dried. "Did she say anything?" "Only once," he replied. She said, "I'll explain later." But she didn't look like she believed it herself. I thanked him and stepped away, my pulse quickening. Emily had tried to reassure a stranger, or herself. Either way, the pieces were fitting together into something far more disturbing than infidelity. When I returned home that afternoon, a new voicemail notification appeared on my phone. My hand shook as I played it. There was no voice at first, just faint wind like someone standing outside. Then a quiet, trembling whisper. "Don't look for me, Ryan." It was Emily again. "But if you do, start with the man you think you can trust the most." Her voice cracked, and the message cut off. A chill ripped through me. The man I trusted the most. Who did she mean? My brother? My colleague? My best friend Alex, who had known Emily almost as long as I had. Why would she say that? I replayed the message until the words carved themselves into my bones. The man you think you can trust the most. Then it hit me. Earlier that year, Emily had grown strangely distant around Alex. Conversations halted when he walked into the room. She avoided group outings if he was invited. At the time I thought it was just awkwardness. Now it felt like a threat I had ignored for too long. I grabbed my keys and headed toward Alex's house in Bellevue, every breath tight in my chest. I didn't know what I was expecting. Answers, a confession, a confrontation. But I knew one thing for certain. Whatever happened at that corporate party, Emily hadn't run away. She was running from someone, and I was about to find out who.